Oi, you there, do you want Ash to review your homebrew products on his channel? Well, all you've got to do is peruse the description below, where you'll find a magical email address. And you can send him your stuff, or at least ask about it. I mean, if it's not dragony enough, he might not accept it, just saying. What are you still doing here? Oh, sorry, you're watching the video. Bye.
Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is HeroQuest, and today, they have finally arrived. Today we're going to be opening and looking at the brand new Artifacts deck from AxianQuest, as well as the Dungeon Events deck from AxianQuest. These always come with the pick slip, sort of internal use DriveThru RPG cards whenever you order them. We won't be needing them. We're going to open up the Artifacts deck first. And I did not open these before checking them out in the video. So you're getting my genuine reaction. However, I will say I already did notice that there's going to be an Astral Hunter. No, not more of these monsters. They give me anxiety. So our first card, of course, is going to be this sort of cover card, letting you know it was printed in the USA, what the item number is. Again, it's an internal thing. We don't need to keep that, but you could if you wanted to. The art, just as in the previous AxianQuest decks, is very pretty for the backside of the card, very branded, very consistent with other AxianQuest decks. And here we have, of course, our Astral Hunter and Curse of the Astral Hunter. Just to give you a really quick rundown on what this is, the AxianQuest deck provides you with so many cool weapons and artifacts and new treasures that, of course, there has to be a balance, and the balance is the Astral Hunter. This guy has a movement of 8, 4 attack dice, 4 defense dice, 4 body points, and 4 MP. He's a devourer of magic, and his attacks do not inflict BP. Each undefended skull destroys 1 artifact carried by the hero, and if the heroes have no artifacts left, it disappears. And you get some instruction as to which miniature you could use if you wish, a gargoyle, dreadful sorcerer, or other horrific figure of your choice. Basically, if the heroes own 2 or more artifacts once at every quest, Zorgan, it's codename for the evil wizard player, of course, must roll 2d6 the first time a hero's blood is spilled. In other words, whenever a hero loses 1 or more BP. If the result is equal to or lower than the total number of AxianQuest artifacts owned by the heroes, an Astral Hunter appears next to the hero with more artifacts and attacks immediately like a wandering monster. So, if your heroes are in a dungeon, minding their own business, and they have 2 or more artifacts, specifically AxianQuest artifacts, so they have to be the ones that you get from this deck, the Astral Hunter will appear as soon as one of them loses BP, and it'll appear next to the one who has the most of these artifacts, and it'll attack immediately, ending your hero's turn. Now, if it scores any hits, it's going to steal those artifacts, and then it will disappear. You have got to avoid it or kill it as soon as it appears, or just risk losing your artifacts. We also get the Arcane Emporium of the Axian Witch. This is sort of like an armory. After each quest, the heroes may visit the Axian Witch's Emporium. Zorgan shuffles the deck and draws 1d6 cards. These are the items she has for sale at this time. The heroes can examine and buy the items drawn. Thanks to the hero's reputation, each item can be bought for 1,000 coins. If more than one hero wants to buy a given item, they can either roll a die or duel for it. Use the center room as the arena. The hero who loses all BP is defeated but not dead and recovers fully before the next quest. The witch also buys artifacts from the heroes, paying 500 coins per item. So you have a way to acquire these items, which is basically going to be another way to spend your hard-earned gold, and you have a way to lose them. At 1,000 gold per, please don't lose them. Now let's check some of these out. We've got the Shield of Luck, shiny like a new coin. I love that we have flavor text for these. Defend with +1 DD or defense die. You may re-roll 1 single die per game. May not be used by wizards. The motif is a horseshoe. That's very creative. Very, very clever. Shield of the Iron Guard. Steel that steel can't win. Defend with 2 defense dice. May not be used by wizards. +2 defense die specifically. Shield of the Dragon Watch. This is defend with a defense die, but reduced by 1 the BP lost from spells, attacks, or effects based on fire, cold, electricity, or acid. We have the Shield of the Sun. we have the Cloak of Invisibility. At any time, become invisible. Zorgan's monsters cannot attack you on their next turn. 1 use per game. We have Cloak of the Bloodied. If your current BP are less than your maximum value, defend with +1 defense die. Or 2, if you have only 2 BP left or less. I like that. That's a pretty solid rule. Plate Mail of the Destroyer. Plate Mail of the Exalted. Helmet of the Spirits. Helmet of the Exalted. Helmet of Luck. Helmet of the Destroyer. Chainmail of the Exalted. Chainmail of the Destroyer. Chainmail of the Colossus. Chainmail of the Iron Guard. Belt of the Colossus, and this is the very first artifact that I have come across where we do not have a may not be used by the wizard limitation. This is simply, you gain 1 BP, 1 extra body point. Bracers of Warping. These armbands can alter space and time. This may only be used by wizards. Defend with +1 defense die. When you lose your last BP, roll a die. If the result is 4 or more, you immediately move 1 square and your BP are restored to 1. Bracers of the Exalted. This can also be worn by the wizard. Gold and silver entwined. Defend with +1 defense dice. You also gain +1 BP and 1 MP. This is a good one. This is a really good one. The Boots of Gentle Fall. Soft and light like silk. You are immune to falling damage caused by pit traps and similar hazards. That's really nice. I like that. And that can also be worn by the wizard. So there are your artifacts. And of course, if you are experienced in homebrewing, you can take these and use them however you wish in your game. You don't necessarily have to have them be 1,000 GP per. You could have them be a lower price, perhaps a higher price. Perhaps you could sprinkle these treasures throughout your dungeons and have the heroes find them in maybe trapped chests or behind certain monster bounties. You can also do away with the Astral Hunter, or if your heroes have 3 or more artifacts, have 2 Astral Hunters at the same time. I hate that idea, but you can do it. Now we're going to open up the dungeon events. I have to see what is in this deck. This is going to be so cool. The dungeon events. Already we are hit with some really cool art. This is foreboding to the heroes when you draw from this deck. I think that they'll all feel a little bit of dread, but I think they'll be very interested in the chaos that ensues. How to use these cards. Whenever there are no monsters on the board, on his turn, Zorgan rolls a die. If the result is 5 or 6, he draws a card and plays the results. Before the game, Zorgan may decide to use the full deck or prepare a deck with only a selection of cards. Very important distinction. I love that those are rules written right into the rule card. Mind points. If a hero reaches 0 MP, they roll 1 die to move, 1 die to attack, and 2 dice to defend. And random heroes. Some cards require to randomly determine a hero affected by the event. Assign a number to each hero and roll a die to determine which hero is affected. Ignore and re-roll a die result higher than the number of heroes. Alternatively, you can simply make a temporary deck with the hero cards and draw 1. Creature events. Some cards reference the appearance of 1 or more creatures, the Goblin Thief, the Vampire Bat, the Rat Swarm, etc. These creatures don't need a miniature to be represented, because their event begins and ends within Zorgan's turn, with the heroes reacting immediately as described in the card, during Zorgan's turn. And monster events. When a monster's name is bold, it means Zorgan places the corresponding miniature on the board and can use it as a regular monster. So we've also got a key to remind us what the different abbreviations mean, DD, AD, all of that. And now we're going to simply reveal the Dungeon Events deck. Mischievous Fairy. I love this icon. This looks so much like a map icon, actually, to me. A Mischievous Fairy appears and chants magic words that confound the hero's minds. Each hero must roll a die for every MP they have and try to roll at least 1 6. If they fail, half of the coins in their possession disappear. I don't like that at all. Gentle Fairy. A Gentle Fairy approaches 1 random hero and offers to magically heal all their lost BP and MP in exchange for 100 coins. So, we already, with our second card drawn, see that not all of these are necessarily bad. They're dungeon events, but they're not curses, they're not hazards, they're not disasters. Let's continue. Demon Deal. A random hero is visited by a demonic apparition who offers a unique bargain. The hero may accept the deal and permanently decrease their maximum MP by 1 in exchange for one of the following. Permanently increase their maximum BP by 1 and immediately recover all lost BP. Immediately gain 1,000 coins. Ooh, I like that, but a permanent decrease. Immediately gain 1 skill of their choice from the AxianQuest Heroic Skills deck. The hero must possess the listed requisites. or power immediately gain 1 artifact of their choice from the AxianQuest artifacts deck. A hero whose maximum MP is 1 cannot be offered the deal, and a new random hero must be selected. So thank you for those very clear rules. Abandoned Meal. Oh my god. So we have the chance to lose BP or gain up to 2 BP by eating that meal. Winds of Magic. The Winds of Magic grow stronger, and every hero can recover 1 of their used spell cards, if any. I would like to see in this deck, hopefully we'll find one, an equivalent card that talks about skills or abilities or techniques. If it's just magic, this could be interpreted to be only for wizards and warlocks and anybody else who uses spells, and other abilities or techniques may not be counted by the Zargon in question. Maybe that's intentional though. The Sleeping Dart Trap. A random hero inadvertently activates a trap that shoots a sleeping dart. The hero must roll at least 2 white shields with his defense dice, or he will miss his next turn and be unable to defend until he rolls a white shield with 1 die at the beginning of his following turns. Poisonous Gas Trap. The Boulder Trap. Oh god. I want to read this one because the boulder is such a special mechanic in HeroQuest. A massive boulder comes rolling down the corridor or room with more heroes. They lose 1 BP unless they roll a 5 or 6 on a die. They are all pushed to one end of the corridor or side of the room. Then the boulder breaks and the corridor or room can be moved through again. Okay, so it's just a temporary boulder. Trap Map. The heroes find a crude map showing the exact location of a trap, but not the path to it. Zorgan must reveal the square of a trap that the heroes haven't discovered, even if in a room or corridor they haven't explored yet. Draw another card if there are no undiscovered traps in the dungeon, or if there is no Zorgan player. I like that very much. Very much. And we have a treasure map. We have Phantasmagoria, Earthquake, Infernal Heat, Unnatural Cold, Lethal Stench. Thank you for this Lethal Stench. Also known as Zombie Farts. Ancestors' Inspiration. A random hero is visited by the spirits of his ancestors who incite him to greater deeds. The player may choose one of the following effects. Recover a used spell card if any, recover 2 BP, roll 1 AD for the remainder of the quest, or roll 1 DD for the remainder of the quest. The Goblin Apprentice. You know I can't help but read this one. A goblin appears on a square of Zorgan's choice. He wants to be a hero, and chooses a random hero to be his master and guide. From now on, that player controls him, before or after his turn. As an aspiring hero, the goblin now defends with white shields. He rolls 3 dice for movement. If he survives a quest, his maximum BP and MP increase by 1, up to a maximum of 5 BP and 5 MP. The player can also buy him equipment, but the goblin cannot use 2-handed weapons, or in other words, weapons that cannot be used together with a shield. So some clarification there. Just a darling event to happen. A goblin that wants to be a hero. A cute goblin that follows you around. I love that. Mimic. A furniture piece on the board chosen by Zorgan magically comes to life. Draw again if there is no furniture. Chairs and chests use the same game statistics as zombies. Other pieces use the same game statistics as mummies. Fireplaces cannot move but spit fire to attack a hero they can see. I wish there was some clarification on what that meant, but perhaps Zorgan can use Fire of Wrath or Ball of Flame to mimic exactly that functionality. If there is no Zorgan player, the youngest player decides which furniture piece comes to life, and that's lovely. The Ancient King. Restless Dead. Loud monsters. Zorgan must reveal the number of monsters inside an unexplored room. Loose Stone with a surprise. Collapsed Wall. Oh, nice. Loose Stone. This time not with a surprise. This just gives you a sprained ankle. A planned sprained ankle. Too much calm. From now on, dungeon events only happen on a result of a 6 instead of 5 or 6. When a 6 is rolled, however, you must draw 3 cards instead of 1, and play them all in the order they are drawn. Whoa. So we have actually cards in here that alter the entire functionality of this deck. That's awesome. Dungeon Turmoil. From now on until the end of the game, dungeon events happen on a result of 4 or more instead of 5 or 6. Draw and play another card immediately. Yes, that's the hard mode there. Double Trouble. Draw 2 more cards and play both immediately in the order they're drawn. The Hunters. 2 abominations appear at the dungeon entrance and play immediately. The Murderers. 4 goblins appear at the dungeon entrance and play immediately. They are equipped with daggers that they can throw at the heroes. If killed, they can be looted for daggers. For each goblin, roll a die and subtract 3, and the result is the number of usable daggers that can be looted. The Hired Thugs. the Slayer. A dreadful warrior appears at the dungeon entrance and plays immediately. He's equipped with a crossbow that can be looted if they defeat him. That's truly threatening. I really like that. Ambush. A number of wandering monsters equal to the number of heroes appear, each in a different room chosen by Zorgan, and play immediately. Helpful Ghost. The spirit of a dead adventurer appears and reveals the exact location of the hero's objective on the board, but not the path to it. Then it dissolves. So for quests in which there is a boss, I would place the boss miniature down, and I would not move him on Zorgan's turn. I would just keep it there in the same tile, and the heroes would know what room the boss was in. For like rescue missions, I would put the hostage down exactly on the board where they're supposed to be. If they have to go through secret doors to find said hostage, that might prove to be very tricky and add a really fun element to the game. A lot of realization by the heroes that they're dancing around this room and then, oh, we should have been looking for secret doors. If it's an exit, I would place the exit door, and this is a common thing for HeroQuest expansions. The steel door I would place at the edge of the board where it's supposed to be, so the heroes know exactly, at least kind of the general direction they're supposed to go. But of course, as we know, one path can be very winding, so our expectations could definitely be subverted. If the goal is to just escape, then your staircase tile would be placed on the board. How would you use that? I really like that card. Benevolent Ghost. Dungeon Madness. Dungeon Carnage. The Goblin Thief. A goblin with a bag full of stolen treasure runs across the group. Every hero has one opportunity to attack him. The Goblin Thief does not roll to defend and doesn't lose BP. Instead, each hero who rolls at least one skull result causes 2d6 coins to fall from his bag. The hero can pick the coins up immediately. After that, the goblin flees. If the result of the 2 dice is 12, instead of 12 coins, the goblin drops a random magic item card drawn from the AxianQuest Artifacts deck. I love that. Or you can draw a random equipment card if you don't have that deck. Rabid Rat Swarm. I love rats. Let's read this one. Ravenous, crazed rats scurry along the dungeon halls and bite everything and everyone. Every hero loses 1 BP unless they roll 2 white shields with their defense dice. Then the swarm scampers away. Hungry Rat Swarm. Surprise attack. Monsters Patrol. Vampire Bat. A black bat the size of a dog swoops through the dungeon and attacks a random hero with 3 AD, then flies away. It does say the hero does get to defend, so that's cool. Dungeon Terror. Dungeon Panic. Mystery Potion. And Mystery Mushroom. I love this deck. I really, really like this. I would definitely use this in my games, both contemporary and classic. If there was one suggestion that I could make at all for AxianQuest, only one very, very small thing that I wish could happen. I wish these cards were available in a different size. I like this size a lot, but I would like the alternative of having the smaller size that might match perfectly my EU edition of HeroQuest cards. I'm building a master edition of HeroQuest, and I'm only using that European smaller size of card. So to have these in that size would be amazing. These cards are actually available for you to order right now, and I will put a link in the description below so that you can check out all 4 of the currently available AxianQuest decks. When you count these 2 decks, there are now a total of 4 awesome decks. This video was also sponsored by AxianQuest in the form of AxianQuest sending me these cards. So thank you very much, AxianQuest. I really appreciate this thoughtful gift. And just so you know, receiving these cards did not color my opinion or bias me in any way. I was going to acquire these and give them my presentation the same way that I would anything else anyway. But just so you know, I really like them. So go check them out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Comment anything you like down below. And now onward, brave heroes.